And that looks like this rivalry seems to be heating up. Good morning.
So it's quite the deals. Wanxiang is a large OEM. It manufactures auto parts in China as well as in the U.S. And it's acquiring out of bankruptcy the assets of Fisker, which was a sort of a competitor car to Tesla in the early days. Slightly different technology, but again with really nice coachwork and with a sort of luxury feel and luxury positioning. Nice bit of a bidding war. Richard Li here in Hong Kong, and the son of Li Ka-shing, the richest man in Asia, was actually trying to, at one point, buy the company.
Yeah, what was he going to do with it?
Well, we're not really sure. It was a technology play. There are a lot of valuable patents and things like that. Yeah. But that actually tells you why Wanxiang was so interested in Fisker, is that it already owns A123, which is a large U.S. battery maker that was the battery supplier for Fisker when it was an independent company. Now it owns the patents for the drivetrain, which are very valuable, as well as all the design patents to get that lovely coachwork that has a sort of Maserati look to it.
Because Richard Lee's hybrid, they didn't have any of that other technology to go along with it.
Not as far as we know, right? Yeah. That wasn't really built in. So you could say that at $25 million, that was a sort of easy options position. But at $150 million, which is what Wanxiang is paying for Fisker, it's much more an end-to-end play. So actually, this positions Wanxiang very, very well in terms of its ability to not only manufacture, design, but also retail. It's already gone through the process of homologation, meaning that it's actually able to be sold in Europe and it's able to be sold in the U.S. And obviously there's probably some appeal back in China. The question is, how much appeal is that going to have versus the appeal that a Tesla already has as almost an established luxury brand as we look at it?
Well, what kind of market does it encounter?
Well, that's the right question. I mean, as Stephen points out, the market for Tesla is still relatively small compared to the total number of cars that are sold in China. The question, I think, to me is, will a Chinese-identified Fisker automobile have the same cachet value that a Tesla does as a sort of essentially both a really cool piece of technology and an American luxury brand? So we'll see.
Yeah, and, you know, Elon Musk has talked about the potential of eventually making Teslas in China. I would assume perhaps to get the import duties down and to also, of course, tap into that demand. But is that something Fisker, you think, with Wanxiang can do in China, make them in China, make them a domestic electronic
It all depends, I guess, on the supply chain. The battery capabilities right now are mostly in the U.S. I'm assuming that some of that IP could then be taken back over to China. The coachwork and some of the other design pieces for Fisker are still kept in the U.S., but relatively transportable. I mean, it all depends on what benefit that gives you, right? Yeah. If you find that it will help your sales position to not have to pay those import duties, then you do it. But, you know, I think Tesla will be the front runner on that. We'll see if it actually dents its demand forecast to not be a local car.
And import gives it some cachet, too.
Import does give it cachet.
Yeah.